Welcome back to my reviews of my favorite Transformers cartoon ever, Beast Wars. In today's review, we're taking a look at the episode Power Surge. In this episode, Terrorsaur gets supercharged with energon and takes over the Predacons. We begin with a bald eagle flying through the sky, which is suddenly eaten by Terrorsaur. Good thing that this eagle wasn't Silverbolt. You know, the Magnaboss component Silverbolt, not the Fusor Silverbolt. I believe this is also the first instance of a Transformer actually eating another living thing in Beast Wars. I mean, Transformers eating organic material isn't anything new. The Insecticons did that in G1, but they mostly ate plants and stuff. I think this is actually the first time we've seen a Transformer eat an animal. Although it has been a while since I've watched the Japanese trilogy. I wouldn't be surprised if the Decepticon Pretenders ate people or something. So Terrorsaur discovers a floating island full of energon, where he accidentally becomes supercharged with it.
I've never felt such power! I'm invincible! Yes! I am invincible! I am invincible! No one can stand against me! No one!
I'm, invincible. God, that sounds dumb when I say it like that.
Sounds a little optimistic, maybe.
Megatron was a loser.
Whoa, if you ain't Megatron no more, then who are you?
I am invincible! I am Galvatron!
New look, same old lines.
Nice!
He's so hot.
Pterosaur kind of reminds me of Ratchet on Synth N. I'm just glad his eyes didn't turn green. Although what this really reminds me of are all those times in future series where characters would get supercharged and gain new color schemes and theoretically be more powerful, but since most of the other Transformers would also get new color schemes and increases in power level, it was kind of hard to tell. And in reality, it was all just to try and get you to buy a repaint of the exact same toy. Whether it be Sideburn becoming Super Sideburn, or Hotshot becoming Power Link's Hotshot, not to be confused with Hotshot in Transformers Energon, who could Power Link with most of his other fellow Autobots, or in the case of Megatron, who would constantly turn into Galvatron by simply getting a new paint scheme. But then he'd be back to Megatron in the next series, but once he gets some Super Energon in him, now he's back to Galvatron again, before returning back to Megatron again in the next series, and you guessed it, once again becoming Galvatron yet again. Even though his color scheme is actually closer to that of G1 Megatrons, but anyways. Then of course we have Starscream, who...
It looked like Thundercracker.
Yep. Wait, what were we talking about? Oh right, Terrorsaur. So yeah, this is kind of the first case of a Transformer receiving a power-up without it being some kind of major physical change, like in the case of Super Jinrai becoming God Jinrai, or Megatron being turned into Galvatron. As we'll see, this is a temporary power boost, similar to that of the Autobot brothers in Robots in Disguise. But there's no major aesthetic change in Terrorsaur's color scheme, other than the energon radiation effect changing from blue to red. It's more like when Goku would use his Kaioken technique. It just changes his aura or whatever. So, of course, the first thing the Pterosaur thinks of upon receiving his new power is to take out Megatron.
Today I'm the teacher, if you have the courage.
Aww, this just made me think of little Predacons in school. So cute. Also, see my review of the latest issue of the Beast Wars ongoing comic, where Nyx mentions how she went to school with a Predacon. So I guess they do have schools on Cybertron. Aww. And so Terrorsaur destroys Megatron. Man, you thought it was rough when Optimus Prime knocked G1 Megatron off the ledge in Transformers the movie? Beast Wars Megatron definitely had it worse. At least G1 Meg still functioned afterwards. Although, while Terrorsaur goes to recharge, the loyal Scorponok sees to it that Megatron is repaired. Which again, feels very reminiscent of Soundwave in Transformers the movie. Cheetor returns to base to warn the other Maximals of Pterosaur's new power. And we can see that Rat Trap is playing a virtual poker game. Actually, if you translate the Maximal Cybertronics here, it says Old Maid. So yeah, I guess Rat Trap wasn't playing poker, he was playing Old Maid. Once again, Hasbro, I'd love official Transformers playing cards. Also, now that I think about it, Rat Trap does play a lot of video games. He kind of has that in common with his great aunt, or at least her Cyberverse version. Man, Rat Trap and RC would be so fun to play video games with. Rat Trap and Optimus fly to the floating island in order to blow it up before the Predacons can use it for evil.
Man, oh man! If I wanted to fly, I would have become a bat, not a rat!
It was the fastest way, and will you stop wiggling?
Huh. This kind of reminds me of how in the new Beast Wars comics, we have Nyx, who does turn into a bat. I'm surprised that Optimus and Rat Trap didn't try to fight fire with fire and use the energon to supercharge themselves and fight Terrorsaur. But maybe that's just me. Oh well.
Oh! Surprise!
Okay, even when I was a little sparkling, I knew there was something very strange about this scene. So Optimus and Rat Trap succeed in destroying the floating island, and Pterosaur returns home to a rebuilt Megatron.
Well, well, look who's back.
Help!
Now where have I heard that line before?
Look who's back and feeling pride.
Well, this was a fun episode of Beast Wars. Again, it's interesting how this was kind of the first time, at least that I can think of, where a Transformer has gotten some kind of energon power-up. Again, very reminiscent of future series, like Robots in Disguise and the Unicron trilogy, where Transformers would often get upgraded into new color schemes in order to sell new toys. Kind of a missed opportunity by Hasbro here. I mean, how hard would it have been to recolor Terrorsaur purple or something and call him Power Surge Terrorsaur? Of course, there are a couple episodes coming up where a Transformer would get a redeco, but we'll get to them in due time. I like how this episode kind of complements the last one, and I think it's safe to assume that if the Predacons were in the same situation as the Maximals, they would just fight it out until someone came out on top. Much like the Decepticons in Transformers the movie. One interesting note is that the Predacon Insecticon was originally supposed to debut in this episode. Although, as we know, creating new models is very expensive and time-consuming. So they cut Insecticon and gave his lines to Waspinator instead.
Well,
What?
if you're second in command, what is your command?
Well, let me know what you thought of this episode of Beast Wars down in the comments. Remember to like, share, and do all that other fun stuff. And I'll see you back here next week for the next episode of Beast Wars Fallen Comrades. Another great episode. And the debut of Tigatron. So be sure to come back next time for that.